So everyone is here. We have Kate Bearden, Lily Marshall, Michaela McDuffie, Connor Simon, and Maddie Henry. And today we will be discussing the problems and solutions of ExecuWare to the CEO and present it to the HR committee.
Right. I think first we need to introduce the problems and see what different problems we saw in the case.
Yes, I agree. Who wants to go first?
Me, I guess. Some of the main issues I saw when reading the case was like Helen was missing whenever her assistant Jenny needed her the most. So maybe she's just not as attentive to her job role anymore now that she hired someone else to.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So Helen, we could say Helen wasn't available.
Like a little bit, or relying more on Jenny to do her work.
Yeah, because it's like they brought in Jenny, who is kind of the newbie, and she seems like she's taking over a lot of work for Helen.
Yeah, and I also think like a big problem that kind of introduced all of this was that Jenny threatened to quit because she felt like she wasn't being like appreciated and that she was kind of picking up all the slack.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that I found, was that she said that no one upstairs follows the schedule that she creates. And so she gets everybody.
Yes. I also noticed that Dan is the VP of marketing. And so he kind of, I feel like he should kind of stay out of the operations side of ExecuWare a little bit, because when he came down and changed up the whole order on Jenny, it kind of threw her off. And so it seems like he's kind of inserting himself into places where he shouldn't.
Yeah, I noticed too that I think it was Jenny who said, like, since Dan has been working there for so long, he thinks that he knows everything, but it seems like he doesn't really understand the consequences of when he is allowing all of these last minute changes.
Yes, right.
I said, kind of like Michaela was saying about Helen like feeling like she wasn't heard by like everybody. I said that there's no way that they're like the like executives of the company don't really know what the schedule is, and they're not really helping coordinate everything if they're kind of all over the place and not just calling, like making them do random different things.
Yeah, so we could say not everyone understands the schedule. I think a big one too was they are allowing like these last minute changes, but not understanding that other customers' orders are going to be late, and Jenny's getting blamed because they're missing deadlines because they're making so many last minute changes.
Yeah, it's like they're not following the like the actual rules that they had set in place for all of like the customers to order.
Yeah. So we could say like allowing last minute changes that mess up the schedule and causes things to be missed.
Yeah.
And then we should probably move on to evidence.
All right.
Okay,
So
perfect.
do y'all have like a any ideas for like the problem statement?
I
was
feel
thinking
like
something along the lines of like, you know, Dan insisting that orders be done in a certain time range with the short notice of orders, because that's what's causing all of the problems.
right, like the orders need to be better managed. Yeah, we could say that. So Dan is insisting on changing orders that don't meet the deadlines.
Without consideration of the consequences. So let's move on to step 2.
Awesome. So what is this? The evidence? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be analyzing the problem.
Okay, so something I noticed was that because of this last minute change, like the workers went into 2 hours overtime.
Yeah.
That was some evidence for sure.
There's that, and then customer complaints in itself, because you have everybody complaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Customer
then I
and-
said also employee arguments.
Definitely.
Yeah, and they also mentioned with him, his last minute order like messed up the materials.
Yeah, there was like excess materials because she couldn't make them right. One pocket instead of 2.
I'm worried about wasting resources. Okay, I think that sounds pretty good.
I think so too.
So then we'll go ahead and make the criteria. What criteria do you think we need to have for our solutions?
I definitely think there needs to be some kind of either time management or like scheduling management that needs to be implemented. So like rescheduling or making a new schedule or trying to figure out like specific times on, I don't know, just something with time management. Because I feel like that's one of their main issues is like having all of their productions off time.
I even said to put a plan in place for when customers do make last minute changes, like there is a procedure in place for when that happens. That way this all doesn't happen.
And for schedule changes. What do y'all think about that?
I like that.
It's good. I said they also need like a way to communicate everything. Like if the schedule does change, like they have a plan for it and then they're able to communicate that across the whole company. That way everybody's kind of on the same page.
Okay,
Yeah.
so should we say something about like
Improve
having more
communication.
involvement with all of the supervisors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that, and that the schedule is actually being followed and not just thrown around everywhere.
Printed out or like passed out to all the
Yeah.
employees.
Okay, so we could say follow the schedule and plan for schedule changes.
Mhm.
We'll say the solution must have more involvement for
Communication and
Supervisors.
supervisors. Like supervisor
like
communication.
customers in there too.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
That could be like a third criteria is just like straight up improving customer satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, there needs to be more communication between upper management and like the operations side of things. But I feel like those are pretty good criterias. Does anyone else have anything else to add?
I feel like we should also add something about like the wasted resources.
Yeah, so we could put like
Not waste resources.
yeah.
I feel like the workers who are working overtime kind of goes into that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And
Yeah.
that's probably gonna do something with their like finances and stuff too.
And then we should probably move on to solutions.
Okay.
Let's what do y'all think would be some good possible solutions?
Weekly meeting that involves all the orders that need to be fulfilled for that week.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, weekly discussions with like all the supervisors, addressing like orders, operations, materials, stuff like that.
Time into the schedule that's made for the week, adding a time for just in case the customer does make a last minute change, like we have that set aside just in case that happens. That way it's not like in your face.
Okay, so adding in, what would you call that? Like,
I would just put adding in extra time in case the customer makes a last minute change. Just have like a certain amount set aside for that. I don't know, is that worded right?
Yeah, I think so. You know, just like kind of a buffer time, adding
Yeah.
buffer time, you know, just in case it does draw out into that, you have a plan. No, I like that.
yeah. I also noticed in the case, they have contracts with the customers, which is why they have to meet these deadlines. So I was thinking if in the contracts they had deadlines for the customers to go by for when they do make changes, like you can't make changes up to this time. And if
Yeah.
you do make a change, then you have to understand that your order may be late because we have other customers. If that
No,
makes
yeah, that's a smart idea. I like that. Like consequences for the contracts, like this is what happens if.
Right. Just so they understand, like, if you want to change, it may not be able to happen, but if it is able to happen, then
Yeah,
your order may be late. So
Dan
we'll,
just needs to not guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah, create new customer contracts. I like
I
that.
also think that for getting the supervisors more involved, if a change is requested by a customer, I think before they're approved, all the supervisors should meet with each other to
Yeah.
discuss
Yeah.
how that's going to work.
Right. No, I agree.
And then if it can't work, then maybe they can all go together to talk with the customer about why it can't work or why their deadline,
Right.
may be changed so the customers understand.
Yeah, I like that.
And I
Say
think
before changes are approved.
yeah, these are good. We should probably move on quickly.
Right. Right now we'll go to step 5 and evaluate.
So for me, I think that like the best solution that we could implement would be honestly the weekly meetings between supervisors, because I feel like that's the easiest to go about, that's the easiest. It doesn't cause like financials. It doesn't cost money. It's just an easy conversation between management that should be happening anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think we could I think we could do that and add in, the requirement in the contract for the customers to make a decision like before a certain deadline in order to still get what they ordered on time. Because that's not really adding any extra cost to the company, and it'll add some customer satisfaction and kind of allow them to, I guess, save like themselves on their end and not get caught in the middle, having to like.
No, yeah, I agree. Those are good ones.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
also think
I
that
agree.
adding time requirements will be a good one and like definitely is necessary, but I mean, it could also turn off some customers. Like they may, be like, well, why? Like you're doing my order. Why do I have to do this?
True. That's true. I feel
if you
like
understand what I mean.
if that does happen though, they could be like, well, this is just the problem. And if you really want your coat with your 2 pockets, then you're gonna wait an extra week,
So
Yeah.
it definitely will limit customer complaints.
Yeah.
All right. I also think that it could make Dan's job harder since he is, the one in charge of satisfying the needs for customers, but it will definitely keep, Jenny keep the production smoother, and it'll help Helen coordinate the plant's operations more smoothly.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
some customers may be attracted to the transparency that they have like written out in their contracts.
True.
Yeah.
Or could make them respect the amount of work that actually goes into it, knowing that they have to make some kind of schedule around it. All right, guys. Is that all that we have?
Looks good to me.
Yes.
So I feel like these solutions fit the criteria pretty good.
No, I definitely think I think they meet the criteria.
Yeah. And they'll have, the supervisors meeting will, allow them to plan for schedule changes
Oh, yeah.
and
No, I
it'll give them
definitely
more
think that.
involvement for the supervisors.
Yeah, I definitely think
So I
these are
think
like the best solutions to present to the CEO and to HR. So yeah, I think we've thoroughly covered everything, and I think these are the best solutions that we came up with.